So I wanted to talk about the accidental hack that I stumbled into for like more happiness in your life. Um, and it happened when I became a parent, or at least that's when I most can recognize that this process was occurring. So when you have a kid, they start off as a little potato. They're just hanging out. And you have these feelings and you love them but we start off potatoes and we start growing, we start learning, we start moving, becoming people. And my son, he'd like make these little jumps in development, and it was just so exciting to watch. You could, with the basic stuff like, oh, he's learned to hold up his head, to watching him learn how to think, like, seeing those wheels turning. So anyway, you're in this position as a parent, having such total excitement and, just passion for this other person and what they're doing. And it's not personal. At least it's not personal for people who aren't using their kids for validation for themselves. So, you're going to run up on some of those parents that are coming from a place of like, oh, my kid's goal achievement development says something about me as a person. And like, we don't want to do that. But just, generally, like, hopefully most people, you're loving and excited and supporting this other person, and it has nothing to do with you. And I sort of somehow ended up, not really intentionally but subconsciously, moving in this direction of like applying that to other people in my life. Like, why, I don't want to say why hoard that, but why not be celebrating everybody? like we're all doing stuff. We're all trying. We're all succeeding. We're all learning. Like, let's celebrate that. Let's fucking celebrate that ish. And so, kind of what I was doing without realizing it was expanding my base of happiness. My base of happiness wasn't just about me. It didn't have to be me accomplishing a thing. It didn't have to be me doing something awesome. It didn't have to be like, I could just witness, let me just witness that for you. Like, let me reflect that back. You're amazing. It's really hard, especially when we consider someone to be a peer. So we're like, oh, we're on the same level, and then suddenly they're like doing a thing. And our knee-jerk reaction a lot of the time is, to feel envy. And envy, jealousy, like there's a nuance, I forget. I think it's envy though. But to feel envy, and it hits us like kind of in here, because it's kind of like I learned that if I'm ever feeling that feeling, it means I'm not doing something I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not in integrity with myself, because if someone else doing a thing makes me feel bad, then that's about me, that's not about them. So coincidentally, there's a lot of spiritual teachings about oneness. Like, we're all one, there's no separation. So I grew up with that, and I just was like, okay, guys, I mean, like, I get it, but also I wasn't really. So there's definitely this like shift of, when regardless of whether you're coming at it from like a spiritual, like we're all one perspective, or you're coming at it from I have taken down my ego self. I do not need to be the center of somebody else's thing, and I can watch them kick ass and totally cheerlead for them. That was actually something I struggled with in high school because I have kind of always had this like cheerleader energy, and I didn't like that about myself because I was like, well, that means I'm not a leader, you know? That means, I'm just a follower. I didn't like that about me. I wanted to be doing stuff. I wanted to not feel like, what's the word? Underneath other people. Now of course I'm almost 40, so now I don't feel like I'm coming from a place of disempowerment about it. So now I feel like, no, I'm strong in myself. Like, I'm so strong that I'm so happy for you. So I had this friend, and I did not know. I should have figured it out when I saw certain things like on Facebook. I didn't really. So for the first time, I walk into her house, and it's the most incredible decor, vibe, whatever that I've ever seen. She literally has the most perfect room in her house that I've ever seen, like decorated in my life. Like there's just everything about it. I was like, I love this, I love this, I love this. You know what I did? I didn't even know that about her. Like, honestly, girls, start doing Instagram, be taking pictures. Like, I want to see this. It's like, let your light shine. So I just, there are things about people that we don't feel comfortable sharing about ourselves when we don't feel safe. I think I've moved into being like a safe person to share things with. Obviously, I'm not perfect. We are all human beings, having a human experience or whatever. But, there's like, speaking of wanting to create things in your life and like law of attraction, manifest, and whatever. It's already here. People are already being successful. You already have like abundance. There's already so much love. Like when you start recognizing, and it doesn't even have to be yours for you to go, oh man, yes, look at this. I'm witnessing it. I'm so like, oh, what a different way of being in the world. And it's awesome. And also, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but if you hang out with negative, critical, judgmental people, it's really easy to fall out of that like mental space. It's like, why make like, that's like, you put the game on hard mode. Like, I mean, for me, I don't want to. But if you can just like be in that space of appreciation for all the things, not just your things, everybody's things. One thing I'm noticing as I get older is just how on point certain things like religiously are. So, what is it? So there's like, we all know about the 7 deadly sins. I'm just gonna pull this up because I'm using anyway. Okay, 7 deadly. I'm so sorry because if I try to remember them off the top of my head, I feel like I might mess it up. One of the 7 deadly sins is envy, right? And so, I grew up like sins, it felt so hostile and aggressive, and I definitely didn't like that. But the older you get, the more you're like, reframe it, but that's fair, like that's accurate. So the 7 deadly sins are pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. I may not have wanted to be about like this like harsh, judgmental, religious vibe that I felt like existed, but I don't know why. But at the same time, a lot of this describes ego stuff. Satisfying like this, identity that we create to feel better in the world, and like the, when we feel like stuff's unfair. It all like, I do like how sometimes the spiritual and the religious or the personal development or the psychology or the whatever. I love when it all kind of seems to come together. Because gluttony is not a good thing. Just sit there and just keep going. Because you're seeking pleasure in a way to make yourself feel good. So even if we're not coming from like a judgmental place about it, it's not a good idea. So I kind of accidentally stumbled into the envy thing, which is like when you're not coming from a place of lack, when you're not coming from a scarcity mindset, when you're like, man, everything's awesome, like not just me, but everybody, it's the best place. Truly transformational. I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10 would do it again. So one of the cards I was looking at the other day, when I was trying to find like a pretty one, this one's not pretty, but it's so, kind of speaks to some of this. So I'll show you. Oh man, you can't even tell. I didn't realize I cared about my camera quality, but suddenly I'm having feelings. Okay, so the card is willpower. And the thing is that it just gave me a perspective on willpower that I didn't connect for me before. And now I'm like, this is good. Okay, what it says is, improve your willpower to reduce your stress level. So often we come at it from this idea of like, we shouldn't do this because it's wrong. It's bad for us. Or whatever it is. But like, just like breaking it down to something less dramatic, like you'll reduce your stress if you just have more willpower. That's so true. I do know with people, so last year I'm still dealing with the fallout from some relationship type choices that I made last year, because I was coming from this place of like deep anguish and despair, quite frankly, and I couldn't tolerate being alone. So I was staying around people who, it was like halfway supportive, halfway not, it was in this in-between place, but like, so they were there for me, but like also there was like this negative piece to it. And so now I'm digging myself back out of that. But, when we're coming from a place of strength, when we're, I don't need to do a thing because I can meet my own needs. Then you avoid a lot of nonsense. I do talk to my son about how, a lot of what we're doing, in terms of like learning habits and stuff, is to make life easier. Like, I'm trying to help you, man. In the future, when you're thinking about how do I live life and accomplish what I want to accomplish, hopefully all the things that I've been teaching you kind of are there. This is the way to not make life hard for yourself. Like, do these things, and it's not, they're just tools. Just know that they exist and they're there when you need them if you want them. Anyway, so shifting from this very grasping, yearning, holding, clenching place in ourselves to going, like, throwing that wide open and like, okay, I don't know, like I'm a witness to the universe, being awesome, just happy to be here, and taking like I guess it's technically like the ego identity, but taking like the ego identity out of it, because it's so easy to slip into. It's again, 10 out of 10 would recommend for everybody. So hope you guys are gonna have a good day. I am gonna go kick some butt at work, and I'll talk to you next time.